Good afternoon, everyone. I'll call the Cook County Board of Commissioners to order on this special meeting day of July 20th at 1:05 p.m. The reason for our special meeting is to go over some areas of updates and items to discuss. We will have a consent to the declaration of local emergency. We'll hear a presentation from Paramount and explanation on NIMO. So I will turn this over to Administrator Treble.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I have 3 items, as she mentioned, all with different contracts seeking approval from the board. So the first one is the resolution of consent to declaration of local emergency. So just to make sure the board is aware, on July 18th, our chair, Commissioner Storley, signed a declaration of local emergency. So this local emergency, as you all know, is due to wildfires located in close proximity to the county that started on July 6th when a storm moved through northeastern Minnesota. This declaration allows the county officials to request state public emergency and disaster assistance in accordance with local, state, and federal law, including without limitation Minnesota statutes, Chapter 12, for any eligible wildfire response and recovery activities. So it allows us the opportunity to seek reimbursement for costs during this time. And the declaration cannot be continued for a period beyond 3 days without the consent of the board. So you'll see in your packet, the first document is a declaration of local emergency. We did cross off, it is not a resolution, that was my error. So we crossed that off, but did not make the change on the document, like taking that out of the document because we had already had it signed by Commissioner Storley. So it is a declaration of local emergency. And then the second document is the resolution. So this is your resolution supporting the decision made by Chair Storley to authorize this emergency for Cook County.
Questions or comments? Commissioner Gamble?
So just for clarification, you want the motion from the board to be for consent to the declaration and then the resolution?
I think it would make sense to do, I'm looking at our attorney here in the room, but it might make sense to do 2 motions, one for the declaration and one also for the resolution. Is that accurate?
Yes.
All right. So, Madam Chair, I'd make a motion for consent of the declaration of local emergency.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay.
And then a second?
And then I'd make a resolution for the resolution of consent to declaration of local emergency.
Support.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion passed unanimously.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. So my next item is a resolution, hold on. I need to scroll down a little bit here. It's the Emergency Operations Center Activation Support Contract and a resolution for Steve VanKekerix.
Kekerix.
To assist us, sorry about that, Steve, during this time of emergency. So Cook County has requested assistance with Paramount Planning. They're in the room here today to provide qualified staff and incident management support for emergency activation and operation of our EOC for the incident that I previously mentioned that began on July 6th. So they will augment our staff and ensure that we have the coordination and support that we need during this time. So Mike Keyport, who's also in the room, has submitted his retirement and resignation effective September 1st. So given his upcoming retirement, and we know that the fires are likely to continue into the near future, I'm making this request to assist us during this time to ensure, again, that we have the support that we need. Also, in statute, we are required to have a deputy emergency management director, so that fills that need as well. And Steve and Blaine Johnson, as I mentioned, are both here in the room and can share a little bit more about their background and experience. But Steve has extensive background. He has served in law enforcement and also as an emergency management director, and is also our FireWise coordinator here in Cook County. And so he has extensive knowledge and experience with us here up in Cook County. So that is what I'm asking for today.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Mills?
Who was our deputy emergency management director?
I would defer that question to Mike.
Are we out of compliance for? Should I retract my question?
When I first got here 7 years ago, under Sheriff Elias, and I believe, if my memory serves, that he was serving as the deputy.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Which I think is common within law enforcement too, that often the deputy or the sheriff will serve in that role.
I would make a motion to approve the Paramount EOC activation support contract and resolution for Steve VanKekerix.
I'll support that.
Any further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
I'd like to make a comment, just to reiterate that because Mike is leaving and the fires probably won't be done before he's gone, that we do need to have us make certain we've had eyes on the whole process. So you leave and in a month we'll still be here, even without you.
That doesn't mean, Mike, that if you want to get rid of the fires before you leave, you can't do that. You-
Oh, that's true. We're not, yeah.
I'll do my best.
Madam Chair, I should also mention that we do have the acceptance of appointment and oath of office, and I will work with Steve on getting that done within the next week or so, but that typically someone from the state will assist with that. So we're working through those details, but we did attach that just for information to the packet.
The county's attorney's office, the county administrator's office has done that in the past.
Okay,
They did my own.
Oh,
perfect,
Yeah, so that
Okay.
can be done in-house.
perfect, so we can get that done.
Okay, and we'll move on to the next item.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. So the last item here is the National Incident Management Organization has arrived in Cook County. They've been here since Saturday. Since then, our local team has been working with them as operations are transitioned to a unified command structure. They have requested to use the Cook County Community Center starting today as their emergency operations center. Therefore, I have a request before you for their use of the facility. We just received, I've been negotiating and working with them all morning on this contract, and we just received it, I would say about 20 minutes ago, maybe a half an hour ago now. And so we have had an opportunity to have our legal counsel review it, and you have a copy of it in front of you. We were not able to attach it to the agenda for that reason, but essentially they would like to use the community center effective this afternoon, and they are using the majority of the community center, and the log cabin, the kitchen, the conference rooms, and the arena, so the majority of the space. And they are offering us $1,000 a day to use that facility. They would like to use it for the next 2 weeks, and then after that point, it would be a day-by-day arrangement. So that's what you have in front of you.
So how will this impact other
Yeah.
community center uses?
Good question, Commissioner. Thank you for that. So yesterday, we met with Sarah Waddle, who is the director of the community center, at the community center. And she started making phone calls last night to cancel anything that we had scheduled today. Today, she's been calling folks who have anything scheduled in the next week and canceling those. And then if this is approved by the board, then she'll make cancellations for the next week. We have not yet determined a plan post that 2 weeks. So I'll be working with Sarah and our emergency management team on what that's going to look like as we move forward. We'll also be working on providing some communication to the community to make sure they're aware of these changes.
Thank you. So we should just assume there's no use aside from Command Center, yep.
Correct. There will be no use for the next 2 weeks, and then after that, we'll have more information in the next 2 weeks to determine how we're going to move forward post that.
So that's $1,000 a day for the next 2 weeks.
Correct.
Okay. Commissioner Gamble?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Does that also mean that Sarah and her staff will be displaced?
No, Sarah and her staff will still be able to work from that
Okay.
facility.
Commissioner Sullivan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wondering about on Thursdays when we have our local market there, how that is going to be
Yes.
handled.
Good question, Commissioner, and we are working on a different location for
All right.
that. We're not able to use it as there will be vehicles that need to be parked in the parking lot, and so they have made the request that we move that as well.
Great. I assumed that was the case, but wanted to make sure. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, we're making plans in the event it goes on the third week, as we'll have to have an emergency polling place for August 11th. So
Okay.
we're working on that.
There are a lot of moving parts with this, but we're working on all of them to make sure that everything's covered.
Commissioner White?
And what's our new estimated date of completion for the new emergency operating center by the law enforcement?
Well,
I didn't hear the question.
she wanted to know about the progress of the emergency center.
I was just talking to Brooke about it before this meeting, and they are a little bit behind, a couple of weeks behind. But also what's going to happen is the dispatch will be moved into
Oh, yes.
to the EOC space while the old dispatch center is being remodeled. So it really, even if it was open, it wouldn't
Sure.
do it.
Yeah.
Ed Manon, well, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, do we need a motion for this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have anything to add, Administrator?
No, I was going to move on to other updates and realized we need a motion on this, so.
We'll do this first.
Yeah.
Commissioner Sullivan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve the emergency facilities and land use agreement as presented.
Support.
Any further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. So,
Thank you.
Administrator.
All right, so I have a couple other updates related to the fire and the operations that we have been putting in place. So the first one is that we have set up this room, the Commissioner's Room, as our internal Emergency Operations Center. As we just talked about, the law enforcement EOC is not ready for us to use yet, so we're going to be leveraging this room. However, tomorrow morning, we still are going to have our PHHS meeting and our Committee of the Whole meeting in here, and we may have some limited additional meetings in this space. We've canceled most meetings in this room for the next few weeks so that we can accommodate it for our emergency team, but we may have to have a couple meetings here if we're not able to find space in other locations. But I'll be working with our emergency management team to make sure that we can accommodate those needs. So just know that you'll get some emails in the near future about upcoming meetings and where they're going to be. The city has kindly offered their space. Obviously, they have meetings in that location as well, and so sometimes it might not always work to move over there, but they're trying to accommodate as they can and have been great to work with on that as well. So that's the first update. The second one is that as you know, we have a community meeting at Hall 1 on the Gunflint Trail today at 3 o'clock. And we have a community meeting in Lutzen tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall. So we're planning on those two events. We also have a community leadership meeting on Wednesday from 1 to 2. We had our first community leadership meeting last week related to the fires and fire response, and this will be our second one. So we're working with that team just to make sure that they have information, that there's a place to hear concerns that they have as well. I should also mention that we have requested that Senator Hochschild and Representative Scraba work with us on a visit to Cook County as well, and they are open to that. And so we're hoping that we can get them here in the near future to communicate with us and the community. So I'll keep you posted on that. And then tomorrow during our committee of the whole, and I don't know if this has been reposted yet, but if not, it will be. I'm going to be changing the agenda and taking one of the agenda items off, which was a policy update. And in its place, we're going to have someone from the national team come and present on the status of the fires. So that will be tomorrow at 10:30. And then lastly, we are working on a portal on our website to put all of the emergency response information, public health and human services information related to air quality and the fires. So hopefully we'll get that up and running within the next few days. But we had a meeting earlier today, and we're working on that for the community as well. And then we do have a PHHS board meeting tomorrow, so we'll hear additional updates from them on the air quality response. But just to briefly cover some of the key points in that area, we did open the YMCA as a clean air shelter from July 15th through the 19th. We served more than 20 community members, supported 4 families who had chose to evacuate early, and we have been distributing masks as well. We are also working on getting more masks in, both adult and child size, for the community. We've been providing updates and interviews on WTIP, and we'll continue to provide them with information related to air quality, and are trying to just get as much information as we can out there about the impacts of the current air quality for folks. And then lastly, I would just like to thank our county team. We have had a number of people put in extensive hours and honestly have been working around the clock to meet the needs of our community at this time. So I would like to thank our Sheriff Ben Hallberg, who has been working around the clock on this response and doing an excellent job. His team with the deputies and dispatch, who also have now shifted to 12-hour shifts and are working extra hours to accommodate our needs. The U.S. Forest Service, we've been working a lot with Kyle Strover. He's been just fantastic to work with. And Adam Cochran as well. Our Public Health and Human Services has been putting in extra hours, helping at the YMCA and with the air quality issues. Our facilities team was here this weekend working as well. The community center, I know I mentioned Sarah Waddle earlier. MIS was engaged this weekend. Our communications officer, Danielle, has been working nights and weekends. Jana came in yesterday to assist us as well. And of course, our emergency manager and our emergency management folks from Paramount who have been assisting this weekend. And then lastly, Grand Portage, Ruth Vogel, Tim Miller, and Chairman Deschamps have been working with us on our response over the last week and partnering with us very closely as well. And I'm sure I'm missing many people, but I just wanted to do a quick thank you to everyone who has been engaged, because it truly takes a team in times like this, and we have had just an incredible team come together to support our community during this time.
Mr. Gamble?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just going to ask, related to the presentation that was made as an update with all of the different entities, will the site that we put on our county website link to those visuals that we saw this morning? I mean, it'd be great if we could do it relative to...
Yeah, so thank you, Commissioner Gamble. We have not had that deep of a discussion yet on what
Okay.
exactly is going to be placed on that website. We anticipate having more discussion about that tomorrow. So we can take your consideration into account and see if we can add
Yeah, to the
some
extent
pictures.
that it's doable, and some
Sure.
information is readily understood, and some needs an interpretation, so it's only to the extent that it's helpful.
Absolutely.
But I would also echo, and I know other commissioners have made this statement too, that the communication and the response to this has been very, not only professional, but very human, and it's appreciated, so. When situations like this arise, there is a response, and sometimes leadership goes away because it's overwhelming. But the leadership within the county and both in the state and the federal level and DNR have been exceptional. And the statement that it makes is that, the caring aspect of responding to disaster is evident, so.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would also like to thank our community members. They have been incredible. They take care of one another, and they support us. And I want to thank everyone out there who has helped us.
Thank you. Any further business or comments? Then we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Now we get to go on that deep freeze.
All right.
Kristen,
Yes.
I'm just really pleased that even though I had a